What?
Let's go, bro.
3 shots, 4 par, I just do 2, 1 putt, par 4, birdie, woo-hoo, new driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew, shooter McGavin, 2 thumbs that's up high and 2 fingers pointed at you, pew pew, fairway to green, con golf that I'm playing, sometimes these par 3 green look like an island, I punch in and keep it on dry land, at least I might try man, up with that 5 and
Welcome to Nothing is OB South Texas Golf Podcast, episode 192. Now tonight's special guest is Mark I was having trouble saying it earlier. Mark Vallier. All right. Now he is the founder of MK Golf Technologies. He has been in the game for over 50 years. Club building, fitting, one of the best people out there. And had lunch with him a few months back. Man, was blowing me away with all the stories and all of his golf knowledge. We're going to have him on tonight. He's going to share some of his time in the golf game, some of his club building. Hopefully he shares and spills off some of his secrets with us tonight. All right, guys, don't forget, guys, we are coming live from the Texas Chancla studios. All right, guys, make sure you hit up our guy, Jesse Hernandez, at jessehernandezlaw.com. He is the man. If you have any criminal cases, a DWI, anything, any of your legal matters, make sure you hit him up. That is Jesse Hernandez. Hit him up at jessehernandezlaw.com. This dude's a beast, and he's living his best golf life out there. I know he was on a five-round bender out there. Man, he's doing some great things out on the golf course, so make sure you hit him up, and we're thankful for his sponsorship of the Texas Chancla Studios. Also, guys, make sure, guys, you hit up our presenting sponsor, Maximum Demolition and Dismantling. Big ups to our guy, Lee Ramos, owner and operator. Hit him up at 210-507-2227. Hit him up at MaximumDemo.com. No job too big, no job too small. Lee Ramos is a family man, a Southside born, Southside raised. This dude loves the dirty work, so make sure you hit him up for any of your demolition and dismantling needs. And also, thank you to our gimme sponsor, FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again. If you don't have a home, FOREBROS Tour has a home for you. Big events coming up for FOREBROS Tour. Got the best schedule. Thanks to our president and our tournament scheduler, Jeremiah Sierra, for always thinking about a member-first organization. We will be out at the Buckhorn this coming Saturday. Beautiful Buckhorn, one of the 4 side courses. Also, some great events coming up. We have June 9th. We have the Juneteenth event out at Silverhorn Golf Club. That is a shotgun start, a great rate. So make sure you hit up FOREBROS Tour on Unknown Golf. And also, you can go to www.nothingisob.com too. There's a link on there that will take you right to a FOREBROS Tour page. All right, guys. And also, we have a July 25th event. That is a FOREBROS open house. Happy Gilmore 2 screening. Also, free keg beer out at the Golf Vibe Golf Club of Texas. That is on Saturday, July 25th. You want to know more about FOREBROS? There's a 9-hole event. Happy Gilmore 2 screening. Bring your family out. Family fun out at the Golf Vibe of Golf Club of Texas. All right, guys. Now let's get into it with one of the best people, if not, he's got some awards. He's got a lot of awards for best of the best fitters out there. Let's bring on Mark Vallier.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's up, Mark? How are we doing tonight, man?
Doing great. Doing good.
Hey, when I asked you earlier how many years you've been in the game or been fitting, 50 years kind of threw me off.
Yeah, well, I really I started when I was about 20 years old. I started piddling with golf clubs. That's kind of really what I meant. I didn't start fitting clubs when I was 20 years old, but I started, just piddling with them. And my dad had clubs in the garage, and I just really, got involved in rebuilding persimmon golf clubs. That was my passion, and I really got in depth with persimmons. I ran into a guy at Pecan Valley. We lived out near Pecan Valley, and I got involved with him. And so I really got very involved with that. I would take the sole plates off, and I would take because a lot of old persimmons, they were beat up on the toe, and the sole plates would get beat up with rocks. and the shafts would get broken or bent or whatever, and I would take them all apart, and I would soak them in Clorox to get all the stain off of them, and I'd completely rebuild them, sand the sole plates off, put new screws in them, and I would actually take my Carta, which is a insulating material, and I would build new inserts and epoxy them in and put new screws in them, and then started making multi-piece inserts and restaining them, and the old McGregor's, and that's how I got started, and knew a lot of people up Pecan Valley. One of the guys that got me started, his name was Whitey Lohr. He was an operator at CPS Energy. And I took some of the ones I took to him. He goes, "Oh," he said, "you're really good at this." So I got started that way, and then met a few guys along the way. One guy was owner of a company called Kiwi Golf. Had a little trailer on Nacogdoches, and I started buying equipment from him, some shafts, and then I started doing some work for him part time, and then kept going and going and going, and then. Later on, I took classes in Austin at Golfsmith, and the advanced class, all the way to advanced class, and then life goes on, and I just kept getting more and more involved in it, and started building irons. I started buying Golfsmith irons, and the Snake Eyes, and over the years I just kept getting more and more involved in it, and then started building clubs with friends, and 10 years went by, 20 years went by, and then then my son grows up and he needed clubs, and so I started building him clubs, and then he started playing junior golf, and then I ended up meeting a guy, which, as it turns out, his initial is K, and we opened up MK Golf as time went on, and then we moved around town. We started out in my garage, and then eventually we opened up a place, and we eventually moved indoors where we are in Isom and Gulfdale. And we moved around to different ranges over time, and started fitting kids. Once we got OEM products, and that's when things really changed. And we were really, I think, the first group that started doing club fitting at the level we do now. But we started traveling all over the country, started belonging to different organizations. One of them was called the PCS organization, Professional Clubmakers Society. They eventually went bankrupt. They were a small group, but everybody around the country was members of that. And they started doing training videos. You could, you watch the training video, and you would get certified in that. A training video and shaft profiling, you would get certified in that. And a training video and different aspects of club design, and you get certified in that. And then they started issuing different types of certifications. You're a professional club fitter, you're a professional designer, and so I just kept getting more and more involved in it over the years. And then I joined an organization called ICG, which is the International Clubmakers Guild, and you keep taking tests, and they want to know if how many grams is one swing weight, and just different aspects of that, and how many swing weights, how many grams does a swing weight change in iron if you put it on the end of a butt versus the end of the head, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And then eventually I got the International Clubmaker of the Year award in 2020.
Wow. So I don't mean to cut you off, but you must really like school, because all I hear is nothing but class. All I hear is nothing but classes and certifications, and moving on to the next. And it seems like you're always searching for, I guess, to do better, right? I guess to do more.
I just have a yearning to learn. I just want to know more, and I'm still in that mode. I have a continuation to want to know more, and that's just who I was. Actually, one of my jobs, I did work for CPS Energy for 40 years. I worked in the engineering division out at all the power plants, and I won't get into that job too much, but I was a trainer part-time, and one of my jobs at CPS Energy was I started a training division, and so I have need to teach, and that kind of marries over into the golf world. And when Kirk and I started MK Golf at the level we are now, we had a narrative that we wanted to kind of teach to fit. Like when you came in and you were swinging a golf club and you had certain aspects of your swing that was not fundamental, you know, we weren't trying to make you a PGA Tour player. We were just trying to see good shots. So we said, hey, Andy, do you realize that you're not doing this? And can you do this?
And I think that's the thing, right? I guess as a teacher and as a coach, I know we say a lot of times you're only as good as your staff, right? You're only as good as the coaches or the people that work for you, right? In your case, and when I went to fit in, I went over there a while back to get fit for a driver, and Justin, I think was the one who fit me, and I made sure to let him know too. I said, look, Justin, I said I run a golf podcast that's called Nothing Is OB. You can be honest with me about my swing. And so he said, well, good. He said, well, first off, you need to work out. He goes, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you need to see an instructor. And I said, oh, man. I said, okay. He goes, but the likelihood of that happening right away is not going to happen. He said, am I right? And I said, yeah. He said, so we're going to go with the swing you have, and we're going to work from there. And I said, okay. I said, this is going to be a good session right here, because I said, I wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, usually with most customers, it doesn't take a lot to be able to see a good strike. You know, for example, if somebody is over the top, swings over plane, has a weak grip, doesn't rotate their body, doesn't finish their swing, we can have a conversation. And once we see an optimal ball, then we have a better understanding of where to go with equipment. And all we're trying to do is get that person in the right geometric design. So when they go play golf, you know, we're not trying to put somebody that's swinging 70 miles an hour with a 7-iron in a club that Tiger Woods would play, because the ball's not going to go anywhere. So, but we do have people that come in the shop and they go, well, I want what Tiger plays. And, you know, they're swinging at 80 miles an hour. Well, you can buy that club. It's just not going to go. The 7-iron is not going to go anywhere but 130 yards. If that's okay with you, then I'll sell it to you. And very rarely we do have that person. You know, a lot of time we have a junior golfer that comes in and they go, well, I want to play what Jordan Spieth plays. And he plays the Titleist, you know, T100 or whatever. And, you know, he probably shouldn't be playing that, or she. But again, it's the customer's choice. But most of the time people go with the recommendations we give them. So
let's backtrack a little bit here. You started out in the South Side, Pecan Valley.
Right.
All right.
Almost South Side.
Pecan Valley, RIP, one of the gyms that got closed down, and it hurts me driving there all the time and seeing that, because you can see, I mean, what hole is it that's close right there, or what holes are it that are close right there?
Number 9.
Yeah, you can see number 9, and you can still see the path of the hole, right? You can still see the carving, and
I can tell you every hole, every direction, every shot. I've played that golf course hundreds of times. I mean, it's sickening to think that golf course isn't open. I used to live in the apartments over there when I was first married back in 1976. I mean, I used to leave, you know, get home from work and go in and go hit balls on the driving range. I mean, I used to dive with two young men that used to dive on the Slaughter Creek on number 1. You know, and number 8 and number 7 for golf balls. They would take onion sacks and they wrap around their waist, and they'd have diving gear, and we go in there and we dive for golf balls and come out. An onion sack would hold 600 golf balls.
Holy shoot!
Yeah, and we would and they would sell them, you know, as you know, sell them back to the golf courses, and then you know that was acceptable back then. But that's what we did. I mean. I can remember when there was somebody that died back on number 7 back in the day. Number 13 hole, dog leg right to left. You know, big oak tree with Slaughter Creek. There was a story on the side. I can remember the plaque where Arnold Palmer lost PGA. I saw Arnold Palmer play the PGA there, and that golf course is what was the best golf course in San Antonio without question. It's just a great piece of property.
My dad, I never had the chance. I was really young, being from Corpus Christi, and there was only 2 real courses that you could access, right? Being from Corpus, as soon as you came into San Antonio, Mission del Lago and Republic weren't built yet. Yeah. So you're either going to Riverside or you're going to Pecan Valley, right?
Right.
And it's like whenever my dad and uncles would take me, I definitely wasn't going to go with them to Pecan Valley because I was riding in between them. So we would always go to Riverside, and so that's why Riverside has it's so nostalgic to me, right? Yeah. And Pecan Valley, I never had the pleasure to play.
You didn't play it?
No, right here. I got some great comments right here. Lou Santiago right here, best fitter in Texas. I don't know, Louis. We could probably say they're in the country. I don't know. I think just better than Texas.
I appreciate that, and I have a passion for helping people. That's what that's the one thing that I like doing is helping people get better at golf. And that's why I like helping Keith right now in his endeavor to grow the business, because it's been something that's been, his passion. I started working with Keith, the new owner, when he was probably 8 or 9 years old. He's one of my first juniors I worked with. And, he went on to play college golf, and everybody that's working in the shop now, everybody's a good golfer. Everybody is. And there's several guys that play college golf, and
I'll take any of them on right now. Bring Dustin out here. I'll take Dustin on.
Yeah.
Right here.
Dustin moved on to bigger and better. He had a big time college degree in business, and he needed to make big time money, and that's fine. I mean, it's in our business, the golf business, you're not going to you're not going to be an Elon Musk, going down the road making billions of dollars. But we've got a lot of good help right now, and it's really working out well. Right
here, I got Mike Kirk. And guys, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and chiming in with one of the best fitters in the business right here. Pond diving was how we paid green fees back in high school.
I know it. I mean, those 2 boys, they were named Matt and Mark Racknow. Their father was my principal at East Central High School. And they used to run the driver range on, I think it was O'Connor in 35. It was a driver range. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a great property. Actually, Tommy Walling, which was assistant golf coach at Churchill back in the day, used to work there. I used to work there. I mean, we were just always hanging out. That's what we did, and it was just a great time in life. We just would love being around golf and shagging golf balls on the range. And that's a big part of my life,
Times were so much simpler then, weren't they?
So, I mean, and we didn't have cell phones at all,
I love not having a cell phone every now and then, man. It's so freeing, right? Well, then what happens when you don't have it for like the whole day? You go back, people are mad at you. Yeah. Someone's trying to get a hold of you, right? And everyone's wondering, hey, where you been?
Well, one of the things about this whole concept of fitting, is it is a science, and everybody has the opportunity to go buy clubs off the rack, and and that all works, but everybody has the opportunity to kind of dial in their game. If you're going to play golf and you want to play your best golf, I always tell them, and some people are like, okay, you want to go out and play golf. Some guys might just want to smoke a cigar, have fun, drink a beer. You don't care where you shoot. That's fine. But if you want to be a little bit more competitive and want to play your best game, you got to have the right equipment.
And I think that's the thing. As I've started this podcast back in 2018, it's turned into something totally different. I've met people from all walks of life. And when we met, like you said, you're a student of the game. And I think that's something that kind of really drew me into you, because as being a teacher, as being a coach, if you're not getting sharper, you're not improving your
Right.
trade. You're not improving yourself for, me, for my players, you for our students, right? And so I think that was one thing that really drew me to you. Like, you're always, like you said, you're constantly learning, you're constantly trying to sharpen. So earlier you said OEMs. What does that mean for people out there?
Well, OEM stands for original equipment manufacturers, like Titleist, TaylorMade, Cobra, Callaway. Those are the original equipment manufacturers. So once we started getting regular accounts, that's when we became the real deal. You can't become the real deal if you're just selling snake eyes or an off-brand. Like Tom Washon. Tom Washon was a designer for Golfsmith, and his equipment was really good, but nobody on the PGA Tour is playing Tom Washon's golf clubs. And so that's the differential there. And if Tiger's not playing it, the general public doesn't want to play it. Now, Tom Washon's product, I could get a set of irons for, I could buy them. I had an account with them I still have an account with them. I could get a set of irons, like eight heads, for, let's say, $75. And, I could stick a set of shafts in them, and my cost would be, virtually nothing. Sell a set of irons for $350. They worked. I used to play them, but the general public doesn't want to play Tom Washon irons. They want to play a set of Callaway irons. They want to play the things that you see on TV and they're advertised on TV. So once our business model changed, that's when we became legitimate, and that's where we've been in business now at that level for over 20 years.
So take us, when we met for lunch, you told me about how you got started in club building. You said you were noticing that there wasn't a lot of clubs for your son, and right. And I remember, and I would love for you to get to, like, how some of these clubs that, some of these brands wouldn't allow you to order from them. So right. Why don't you kind of take us through that whole progression from working on persimmon woods, tinkering there, and then ultimately seeing that there was a need for especially our youth and our junior golfers?
Well, in order to be recognized as an account, you basically have to have a space. So, like, I have my home here, and if I call Titleist and say, I want a Titleist account, they go, well, where are you? Well, I'm at home. Well, you have to be at a country club or a golf club or a range somewhere that is an address where people that buy clubs can go to, not just a residential section. So they're not going to talk to you. So you have to have a space. So let's say you and I decide tomorrow that we're going to go rent a place down the street by the quarry in an industrial center, and we're going to call it, Andy and Mark's Golf Store. And then we're going to
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, and that's fine. And we're going to call the local our local regional ping rep and say, okay, and we have capital now, we got money, and we say, we want a ping account. And the ping rep's going to say, well, the quarry is down the street and they have a ping account, and that's a conflict. So you run into these problems. So the first thing you have to do is you got to find you a place that allows you to be kind of separated from an area where it's just saturated. So that's the first hurdle you have to kind of jump over, is to make sure you're in a place where you're just not saturated, and then you run into that problem. So club fitting for juniors, was our first, that's where we went first. We just wanted to fit junior golfers, and it was primarily Churchill and Reagan, because that's where we lived. And that was a lot of fun.
It's not a bad area. Not a bad area at all.
Yeah. And my wife was a teacher, and so she's retired now. And so I think I told you that story. And so we had a lot of fun doing that. And we started in my garage. I had a net in my garage. Kids would come over. We had a little launch monitor. It was a cheap thing. And we hit balls. And people learned to trust us because we Well, Kirk was a lawyer, and my background was engineering, so we kind of knew what we were talking about. And so things went like that for years and years and years, and finally, financially, we had plenty. We had plenty of capital. So, and our original goal was to just make enough money for Kirk and I to travel and on a little golf trip here and there. That's all we wanted to do is let's make $20,000 this year, and we'll just use it for a couple of golf trips. That's what we did. And then, to be honest with you, next year we made 40, and next year we made 80, and then next year we made 160. And then all of a sudden it would go, well, this is kind of a real business, and then, and then we go, well, let's move to a range. So we moved to a range on Thousand Oaks, and I was then I retired, and I started working, did some consulting work for CPS Energy, and I kind of was doing work in the afternoon, and then Kirk was still a lawyer, and all of a sudden we were kind of making more money, and then Joe Caruso called us and said, hey, well, I need you to move over here. So we moved over to the Caruso Range on Blanco. And then finally we decided, you know what, it's 100 degrees out here and it's hot. So we go, we're just going to move indoors. And that's when we moved indoors, and it just took off. And now we have 2 locations, and we're going to probably open a third. So
okay. So how you and Kirk met? Why don't you take us through that process? How you and Kirk met? Because for people that don't know, Mark is the M in the MK, and Kirk is the K in MK Technologies.
Yeah, and I think K comes for M, but I trumped him on that. But,
it sounds better. It sounds better.
So Jordan, my son, I built him his club. Jordan is very short, so I had to build him his club.
There's nothing wrong with being short. There's nothing wrong with being short.
So we were up at the range. It was called Panther Springs, which is on Blanco, and he was taking lessons from a instructor called Tom Cavino, which we're good friends with now, and we weren't there, and we didn't know him then. So this gentleman's over there, and he's kind of thumbing through Jordan's bag, and he looks at me, he goes, where'd you get these clubs? And I go, well, I built them. He goes, well, you need to help me with my son. I go, okay. I said, I'll be glad to help you. And his son was Austin James, and he ended up playing. He was playing at Churchill, and so I ended up building Austin James clubs, and then Jordan and Austin became friends, and Kirk and I became friends, and that's how we started. And then one day Kirk said, well, we ought to just create a little LLC, because we want to do this legitimately. We don't want to do this the wrong way and make money and not pay income tax, So of course we did it the right way, and we have a little LLC, and it's called MK Golf LLC. And so we just kept going from there, and the rest is history. That's how we met. And we did go on a lot of golf trips. I played Sawgrass. I played Marion. I played Pebble Beach 4 or 5 times. I played all over the country, and that's what our goal was to be. We've been at the PGA show probably 15 times, and we've had an opportunity to meet many, many, many people in the industry. You asked me earlier about who I fit. I guess I'm going to have to say my number one all-time, number one celebrity would be George Strait.
The King, El Rey.
I get a phone call one day, and this gentleman calls me on the phone. He goes, hey, Mark, he said, I knew who the guy was. I won't tell you who it is, but he goes, I need you to do some work for me. And he goes, by the way, he says, George wants you to do some work for him. And I knew who he was talking about. And so I was trying to be polite. I'm not this guy that would want to get a signature from anybody, but, our autograph. And I said, well, you tell George that I'll be glad to help him. And if he wants to come to the range, I'll open up really early one morning, and he can come in, kind of, incognito. And that way people won't, be bugging him, whatever. He goes, well, here's the phone. You talk to him. So I'm talking to George Strait on my cell phone. I'm going, that's pretty cool, And so we had a chat, and finally he says, I said, well, have so-and-so call me back, and I'll get with you, and we'll make set up a time. He goes, well, here's my cell phone number. So he gives me his cell phone number. So I have his cell phone in his number in my phone, and I've actually had played golf with his son once, and kind of had an opportunity to be around him a couple of times. And then one other opportunity, I was playing golf at a Cordillera one time with my nephew, and we're in the men's grill, and we're sitting at the bar, and he looks over, he goes, "Is that George Strait?" I go, "Yeah." He gets his phone out. I said, "Put your phone in your pocket, dude." He said, you don't take your phone out in the men's locker room at Cordillera, And so then George calls me over and wants to talk to me. And so Byron comes with me, and so we're over there chatting with George, and Byron got to meet him and stuff. It's like, he comes over and he goes, that was the coolest thing ever. I said, yeah. I said, you get to meet people when you're doing what we do, So it's kind of a fun thing,
What could you divulge some of your what does he play? Like, what is he? Could you divulge any of that? We don't want to violate no golf HIPAA rules or anything like that.
No. Originally, when PXG came out, he was an ambassador to PXG.
Oh, man.
He got everything for free. Well, then that went away, but he wanted the new PXG stuff, but he wasn't able to get anything for free. And so I had a PXG account, so he wanted the new PXG stuff. So I built some PXG stuff, but I gave them to him.
Dang.
He still got it for free.
What are your thoughts on PXG?
What's that?
What are your thoughts on PXG? See, look, I heard you sigh. Yeah. So
I like the irons. When the irons first came out, the original ones, the 0311s, they were hot. They felt great, but they wore out really fast because they were super soft. That's why they felt so good. So you were paying $350, $400 a club, and they wore out so fast, and that was a problem. And then they went from like $350 a piece to $125 a piece. So you're the customer that bought them for $350, and the next year they went down to $125. I'd be mad. And so I love the look of them. I've never been a real big fan of them overall, but the driver now is pretty good. They're a good OEM. I consider them to be OEM. Everything today is really good. If you want PX, and they're still pretty expensive, but I have a really close friend that did. So he worked for Cool Clubs. He was the head builder for Cool Clubs. And before PXG was started, Bob Parsons was always in Cool Clubs because he was a club junkie. And he would spend, according to this friend of mine, said he would spend $200,000 a year at Cool Clubs getting clubs.
What?
So he would go to Jerry, and Jerry would build his clubs. And Jerry would finally, he would tell Jerry, he says, I'm going to open my own company, and when I do, I'm going to hire you as my head builder. Well, he did, and he did. So Jerry worked for him as his head builder for probably 10 years. And just recently, I think he left PXG and him and his wife opened their own company. I think he got into the restaurant business, but I was trying to get him to come work for MK Golf, but I don't think I could pay him enough. They're a good product. I just never have been a big fan of their pricing, based on what they did with their original pricing from high level to less expensive.
As you've come up in this club making game, what were some of the first, I guess, big name brands or OEMs that you were able to work with? Because I remember when we had lunch, you told me that some companies wouldn't touch you or you weren't able to have an account with. So what were some of the brands that you were able to start working and building for others?
It was really easy to get Ping, but I didn't want Ping to start with because I didn't like them. But I'll get to that in a second. But Titleist was a little hard to get at first.
I think you told me Ram, right? Didn't you tell me like you would get Ram clubs or? No,
it wasn't Ram. Nothing was really hard to get except for Titleist because you had to. It was just they were the elitist brand, and but going back to Ping, I never really, as a golfer, I didn't like Ping products, and once we were established as a OEM provider, I really didn't like the ping rep from years ago. And the guy's name was Joe. I know what his last name is, but it doesn't matter. And we were fitting out of La Cantera, and we were a small little group, and this ping rep was out there, and he was just beating us up and telling us we were nobody and whatever. And so that put a bad taste in my mouth, and that was fine. But
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think, excuse me, I think that's what happens though. Am I right, Mark? Like we're all shaped by our experiences, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure as you and Kirk have come up in this industry, you maybe take care of some of the people that took care of you or gave you a chance years back, as opposed to, and you don't forget that bad experience you maybe had. Am I right?
That's a great analogy, because this is exactly what happened. Because I had a bad taste in my mouth from that rep, and then years later, this new ping rep, he just kept beating me up like, I want you to have an account. I said, well, I don't want a ping account. Finally, he says, well, let me do this. Let me send you to Phoenix to a VIP session with 21 people from around the country. And you're going to go through 1 week of training, and they're going to build you a set of clubs, and you're going to play around the golf with a ping representative at Greyhawk. And so it was Monday through Friday. So I went to Phoenix on their nickel, and the whole week's worth of class, Monday through Thursday. And Friday morning, they take us to Greyhawk in a van. And so another van comes out, and they unload 21 golf bags on the. Have you ever been to Greyhawk?
No, sir, never.
Well, you need to go. They unload 21 golf bags. And so we play 18 holes with one of them. There's 3 fitters, what they consider as fitters, 3 fitters and 1 ping fitter. And we played 18 holes. I shot 74 on my ball with their clubs. They were I 125s, I believe. I-25, yeah, I-25s. And brand new set of clubs. They didn't give them to us, but they built them. I get back and I go, his name was Jeff Beauregard, was our ping rep. I said, I need those clubs and I need your account. And so I was put on ping staff, and we got a ping account. I've been on the ping staff since.
And so that was a good way to sweeten the deal to get you to become a believer, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was, and they've been the best. I mean, I played them ever since. I was back, probably 15 years ago or so. And,
so you talk
from Ping's perspective. The designer has two different directions to go, basically, with the driver. They can design consistency or they can design speed, basically. There's a lot of different parameters, but Ping's always kind of gone the consistency route with their drivers, and they're hard to beat. They're not Ping drivers don't have the fastest ball speed in the world, but when we're swinging like 120 miles an hour, it kind of doesn't matter, but the Ping drivers are very consistent.
So as we talk about equipment right here, what is the best type of clubs that have in your time have kind of come through the shop? Now, I think you hear things. I play Srixons, right? I play Srixons. I have a Titleist driver from on the recommendation of y'all's fittings, right? Of Justin's fitting. And what has maybe been the best clubs that you've seen outside of Ping, right? I know you say you're a big believer of Ping, but what is maybe some clubs that go through your facility that you can really say you stand behind, or that you trust people with?
Okay, well, we'll start off this way. We have a big group, but you got your major brands. You got Titleist, Ping, TaylorMade, Callaway, Cobra, Mizuno. So in that group of the major brand, like say in NCAA football, you got your Power 5, right? Okay, so the same thing in golf. You got your, let's say, Power 5.
It's Power 4 now. There's no Pac-12 now, right? So it's Power 4.
But I've seen Titleist go from not so good to really good in the last 4 or 5 generations of drivers. Titleist used to be a hard club to fit anybody that wasn't really, really good at golf. They were more of an elitist brand, especially Niners. When the AP2s, The AP2 sweet spot was the size of a dime. And
Wow.
you had to be a really good ball striker to play it. And just for example, somebody came in the other day with a set of old AP2s, and he left with 20 yards of carry with new irons. Now, the technology has changed, but my point is, early on, Titleist was hard to fit anybody, and we didn't sell a lot of them. Now, with the new I think GS whatever 1, 2, 3, whatever they are, they're just so much better. The sweet spot, their design characteristics. Something came out when Callaway came out with their drivers with the two little what they call them, the little rods behind the face. I can't remember.
Oh, the jailbreak.
Jailbreak. That was a big deal. This year, the Cobra driver is awesome.
Well, because I got fit for the GT3, and
yeah,
man, I tell you, I'm loving it.
It's got somebody has a lot of ball club speed. It's a long driver, but TaylorMade's kind of been I didn't like it when they came out with a carbon face. I thought that was kind of an attempt to see if they could change the narrative with regard to the face of a driver. I didn't really think that was going to work. It's okay.
Did you see a lot of I guess damaged clubs or damaged face? Because that's what happened with mine. I had the Stealth and the face kind of caved in a little bit.
We only see that. We see a lot of things, but we only see that generally with high club head speeds.
Okay, it's not me. I don't have high club head.
Yours is like a little over 100, wasn't it? I can't remember.
I'd rather not put that out there, for fear of people coming after me.
That was a little over 100 with a 7 on it.
Yeah, it is. I think I topped out at maybe like 104, maybe 106. I'm not. Good things come in small packages.
I told you earlier, everything today is the best I've ever seen it. To be honest with you, everything today is, but everything doesn't work with everybody. That's what's so interesting about club fitting, is you can take 10 people and they'll all leave with 10 different things. If they all come in with the same club head speed and they're all generally the same handicap, they'll leave with 10 different things every time.
So one thing I really like to talk about on the show is that I think getting fit for your clubs, it's like, you don't have to search anymore, because I think a lot of times people are buying off the rack. You're buying off the secondary market. You're buying off Second Swing, Facebook Market, OfferUp, right? You're buying from a buddy. I think a lot of times you save yourself time, you save yourself money if you just go in and get fit. I don't know if you could kind of speak on that. Like, why is it pride? Is pride an issue? Do people think that? Because I think they're spending more money in the long run by not getting something that's tailor fit for you.
One of the worst things anybody could do is to buy. It depends on if you really want to play your best golf. If you just want to go out and just hit balls and just be outdoors, and it doesn't matter, but get past that. But if the worst thing you can do is to get on any social media platform and buy anything off the rack. First, you don't know what kind of condition it is really. If you just go to some place, there's more than one place. I mean, there's more than one restaurant in San Antonio. We're not the only ones that can give you club head speed and profiling, but you got to go someplace to get some numbers and some idea of what kind of club you should have. Because here's the thing. There's categories for everything you do in life. If you're swinging between 90 and 100 with a driver, you should be doing this with your product. If you're swinging between 80 and 90, then you should be in this category. If your tempo is very quick from the top, you need this. If you're very smooth swinger, you need this, your grip size. All these things are very important with regard to playing your best golf. Your lie angles, the type of geometry of an iron you should play based on your steepness of your swing, your shallowness of your swing. All these are factors on how you play golf. And here's another thing: if you come to MK Golf to get fit for a club, and we put you in a set of irons, and you leave and things aren't just right, we're not done with you unless you're happy. You come back and you say, these just aren't working just like I want. So you have to come back and communicate with us. These aren't doing exactly what I was hoping they would do. So it's a process. It's like anything else. But we want you to be playing your best golf over the long haul. It's a relationship. That's the whole thing. Somebody asked me today, how are you successful? It's customer service. It's all about a relationship.
And I think that's the thing that I've learned in 7 years of this podcast is that I used to think it was just strictly about golf, but now I've seen more than anything is that with golf comes those bonds and those relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good way because you know what, you hear a lot of things about club builders, club fitters, who to go see. People are always asking who's the best, right? And I think the thing is that one thing I always like to say is go get your numbers checked. Go do it. And I like to be part of the process and to be in the know. And that's one thing I asked Justin when I went to go fit. I said, Justin, how come you know that I belong or that I should be in this category of clubs? And he said the same thing you did. It's because of my angles, my swing speed, and what I currently play and how the ball comes off the face.
Right.
And so he said that's going to limit where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And then he said and just like you stated, if I was in another category, then it would kind of be in another category as to where, because we have all these brands and things that where we may want to be, but to get our playing our best golf, it's like, it is a science, right? A lot of times people don't think that science is proven, right? Or everything's conspiracy, right? No, it's a conspiracy why my game isn't where it needs to be. But I think if you can cut that one thing in regards to your equipment, having good equipment, like you can be confident and feel confident. Because I played a La Cantera yesterday. My clubs are in Colorado with my wife, right? My regular set. I'm about to go to Colorado tomorrow for a week with my family. My youngest and my wife are in Colorado right now. So my wife has my clubs. I had to play my backup set, my Mizuno 919s JPX. I had to play my old Srixon driver. I had to use my old Peretti putter, some old wedges. And I didn't do bad. I shot a 77. But I'm just telling you, like, I fought my swing like the whole day. Like it's like I was brushing my teeth with like the dog's toothbrush. I wasn't brushing it with mine.
It's just a combination of understanding the club design, and what works. And then once we see speed and understand how the golfer is moving and understanding a little bit about fitness and we have to know the golf swing. We have to know a lot about the fundamentals of the swing and what makes things work with regard to the ball movement and why the ball goes right and what made the ball go left and and the 9 shots of the golf, and the slice and the pull and push and the high and the low. And once we see that happen, then we know there's about 5 directions we can go with a club. So, and 4 or 5 different shafts. And we start pulling that out and we start hitting things. And there's always one club that comes to the top with the data. Sometimes 2, but most of the time there's one club that comes to the top. And it's, and if you come in with some relatively old stuff, then it's like a shocker. Like when we got that person yesterday or the day before, it was a 20-yard differential between AP1 and I think it was a Srixon. I don't remember the brand, but that's a brand right there that's kind of a shocker. That's has really come along with the Srixon. They're good products.
That's what I play. I play the MK7s.
Yeah.
All right. So right here, because I see I get to see who's watching the show, right? I always see the names that are watching the show and that peek in, right? That peek in. And I see some people are here that are in the golf industry. Now, one thing I would love, you've been building clubs for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, you know what, you have people that fit clubs. You have people out at Club Champion, Golf Tech.
Yeah.
You have independent fittings, going on at courses, right? Like their fitting days,
Right.
They're pros. You have Edwin Watts, PGA Superstore, Golf Galaxy.
Yeah.
Now, is everybody doing kind of the same service, or is it just something that you do that the principles that you've built in regards to MK that maybe you're a trendsetter, y'all set the tone here in town, Hanato out at, Dead Solid Perfect. Is there something that you do differently or that your people do differently than everybody else?
So I think we patterned ourselves after cool clubs. Club Champion wasn't around when we started. Club Champion does kind of what we do. We have all the shafts from all the OEMs, and also we have all the aftermarket products that the guys on tour play. We have all of that.
Okay, hold on, Mark. Why do club fitters put some weights in the shafts? I've seen that happen at
Talking about weight as far as like pounds? Or...
Yeah, like I've seen like the weights in the shafts or in the bottom of the shafts.
Well, that's so each head is designed to weigh a certain amount based on the design of the club. So a 5-iron, just the head itself, it is designed to weigh 255 grams. And every head is 7 grams less or more than that. So each shaft is designed to be a certain length. Like a 7-iron, standard 7-iron is 37 inches. A grip weighs 50 grams. A shaft weighs 100 grams. And so then that balances that club out with a certain swing weight. Let's say the swing weight is D2. That's just a relative number and a letter that is used in the industry. And so to get that number and letter, it all has to match up with an amount of weight, head, shaft, and grip. And so when you put all this set together and all of that balances out with the same swing weight, each head is weighing the correct amount. Like a driver is designed to weigh about 204 grams, the head by itself. If you just weighed the head by itself, the driver shaft is 60 grams, the grip is 50 grams. And so as you build the whole set, and the driver shaft is 45.5 inches long. So that gives you this swing weight throughout the whole set of clubs. And that balances all of that out as you swing each club the same. Now there's more to it than that, but that gives you a general understanding of what the weight is. Now, as you grow older, the weight differential is more important to be lighter. So weight is the first factor in fitting. So I need something lighter because I don't swing as fast. You being younger and stronger, you might need a little bit more weight. So I might swing a 85 gram shaft in my iron, and you might need a 120 gram shaft in your iron because you can control more weight than I can control.
Well, I'm actually at 105 on the Axiom shaft.
Okay, fine. So weight is the first factor in fitting. And then you can talk about graphite, why you go graphite versus steel, et cetera, et cetera. But with regard to how each individual company locally fits, like for example, when you talk about the major, like PGA Superstore and Ed Watts, those guys they're primarily doing OEM fitting. Here's
big name brands, right?
Here's a bag of clubs. Here's a ping bag. Go fit the ping stock driver. Very few of those companies have aftermarket shafts.
I think one thing in dealing with some of those bigger name brand corporations or Golf Galaxy, PGA Superstore, is that there's a high turnover rate. I'm not trying to down them or talk crap about them. It's just that same fitter might not be there the next month. It might not be there in 6 months.
Well, again, that's like, you take company guys like Gennaro or Ben Carricker. There's longevity there. Those guys they're more like what we are. I mean, club champion, for example, but. And they all do. Like I always tell people, there's more than one restaurant to go to. I like Lupe Tortilla. I like their margaritas. I go there on Friday night.
Well, I love Lupe Tortilla. It's expensive though. It's expensive.
And there's other places to go, and I frequent all of them. So everybody has an opportunity to go anywhere. San Antonio is a unique city. We're not Houston and Dallas and Austin. I could tell you many, many stories about people, how they shop around and how they decide they want to purchase things. In San Antonio, we're a little bit more frugal, a little bit more.
Say it. Just say it. We're cheaper. We are. Yeah. We're cheaper. We are. There's nothing wrong with that.
We're just not gonna go across the street and buy $10,000 worth of stuff because Johnny bought it.
Yeah, I agree with you. We got some great comments right here, guys. Just make sure, if in case you are just hopping on right here, I have Mark Vallier of he's still on as a consultant. We'll get to that. The founder of MK Technologies, the best fitters in San Antonio, and they have the backing to prove it up. They've been awarded by Golf Digest, the top fitters, some great people. One of the best people here in San Antonio. If you're just hopping on the show right now, right here, I got Patrick Cottrell. Mark, can you set me up with a club that goes straight every time?
Absolutely.
See, right there, a true salesman right there, Patty. Right here, Mike Kirk. Best wedges on the market right now. Let's see.
I would say I would try the Ping.
Ping. What what style are they?
They're the ones that the pros would play. They're the 159s.
159s right there. Robert Vasquez, general manager out at Lackland Air Force Base, Gateway Hills. I wonder if they have kids clubs for Andy Torres and Arnold Garcia.
We can build them.
See, there you go, right there. Look, and you can build them right there. I got right here. Tony Castillo. I have a full bag fitting next Tuesday. Looking forward to it.
Oh, that'd be great. Look forward to seeing you.
Okay, so we got some other great comments. We got some other great comments right here we'll get to. So, okay. So there's always two different ways to skin a cat. And I can only speak on the fittings that I've been a part of, right? And then I can kind of speak on what I've witnessed, right? Now, rumor has it at certain places you're hitting like 300 balls to get a fitting. Mm-hmm. Rumor has it. Mm-hmm. When I went for a driver fitting, I couldn't tell you. Maybe I hit 30, maybe 35 golf mm-hmm. balls. Mm-hmm. I hit, and it didn't take Justin long to figure out what was, I guess, what we could eliminate would not be good for me. Mm-hmm. Right. And I felt like he did the old car salesman trick. Okay, you've tried these out. Well, right before you go, why don't you try this? And he gives me the Titleist GT3, right? And of course, it blows out all the numbers. On SA Golfers, you constantly hear people talk about getting fit indoors and outdoors. Mm-hmm. Having been in the game for a while, having been outdoors, and having now been, predominantly indoors, what are the pros and cons to getting fit outside and getting fit inside?
So if you're outdoors, TrackMan and Doppler radar equipment is great. I would not be comfortable with a TrackMan indoors because the ball doesn't travel far enough to get good data. The Foresight equipment, we use GC Quad indoors. It's because it's camera based, best on the market. But let me tell you a quick story about 300 golf balls in a fitting. I got a phone call from a top 35 instructor, and he wanted me to fit him. He was on the ping staff, and he actually worked at Austin Golf Club. He wanted me to fit him, and I said, asked me a few questions, and I ended up answering him this way. I said, well, if I can't determine what you need in 15 minutes, I said, you need to leave. So he comes to see me, and he ends up telling me this story at the end. He goes, that's why I came. And he was an older gentleman. His name was Bill Moretti, top 35 instructor. He said, that's why I came to see you. He said, because I've been in the golf business my whole life. And he says, if you couldn't have told me what I needed in 15 minutes, he said, you're not any good. So my point for that story is, once I see a good shot, I know what to do. Now I need to see a few shots, but golf swing, fundamental golf swing, good grip, good alignment, good setup. If you know the golf swing, and I know I've been taught the golf swing by the best, and so that's kind of one thing I feel I really know well, is I know the golf swing really well, and I'm able to see what I need to see. And so, but I don't need to see
then why are places having guys hit 300 balls, Mark? Why are they doing that? Is it a machismo thing? Is it like I can see PXG does that? All right, I know PXG does that at their Houston location. My cousin, he said he hit close. He said he hit over 3. And and he came back, spent $1,200 worth of clubs, came back, and he said, do you know anybody that wants to buy some PXG clubs?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I know it's happened before where we've had customers that have wanting to hit a lot of golf balls because they can't make a decision. But
that's different, right? Is that different? That's like taking something for a test drive, and you know what? Let me take it on the freeway again, real quick, right?
That's not what we do. I mean, we had one the other day that he couldn't get past a set of irons, and it took him 3 hours to decide which 2 irons he wanted, and it was a full bag, and he's coming back again Monday to finish up his driver's side, but that's not what we're doing. That was on the customer side, but I couldn't tell you why somebody's doing that.
Right here, we got some great questions right here. Mike Kirk goes, what if it takes 300 balls before you get that good shot?
Well, that's a great question, but I'll tell you something we do. If we have somebody, and we do this. If somebody's coming in and hit a good shot, we tell them to go take some lessons, and we refund their money. If we can't get them to hit good shots, we ask them, would you like us to help you with your swing? Or would you like some recommendations on going in and taking some lessons? Because that happens occasionally. Not very often, but it does. If we can't get you to hit a good shot, we can't fit you.
And again, that goes to relationships, customer service right there. And you have to respect that. I mean, you have to respect that a company or a business that does that. All right. Yeah, right here. I got Scott Thompson right here. Best fitters in SA. I think they're hard to beat, Scott. I think they're really hard to beat. Right here, Joe Avalos. Andy got his clubs at Kmart. But it was a blue light special, okay? It was a blue light special. Right here, John White.
Maybe it was the old Oshman's sporting store.
Hey, they were the old. You know what? I had some Spaldings, all right. Some of my first set were some great Spaldings. Right here, John White. Looking to replace my 6-iron with a hybrid. Any advice?
Okay, well, my first question is, how old are you, and how fast do you swing? That would be my first question, because if you're older like I am, that's a great move.
He's an older guy.
So if you're playing a golf course where you need to hit lower shots, sometimes a hybrid, having a hybrid instead of a 6-iron is a liability, because sometimes a hybrid out of a longer grass or under a tree is difficult. But moving to a hybrid, 6 hybrid, is a good move if if you have slower speed because you can't get those 6 iron in the air.
Right here. Here we go. John White, 66, 90 miles per hour.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell him, Mark, tell him you'll send him the bill, the bill's in the mail, right? All right. So as we've spoken about your thoughts on clubs, your thoughts on fitters, how you've built your business. You built it on the backbone of customer service. Now you're in a different stage in regards to the club industry. You've recently sold MK Technologies. You and Kirk have recently sold MK Technologies to one of your former students or one of your first students.
Right.
And you're on this consultant side. Now, kind of take us through selling your club, selling your baby.
Okay. So several people over the last about 4 years have come to us and approached us about buying it. I've always had since we really kind of done really well the last, I'd say since before COVID, we've really hit pretty good numbers. So I've had a number, there was always all that kind of, magic math and do the numbers to figure out what your business is worth. And so I've had a number in mind and those numbers weren't any good. The people that made us some offers. And so, I think it was this August would be 2 years ago. Keith gave me a holler and he says, "Hey, let's go to lunch." So I met him for lunch. He says, "How much longer are you going to be doing this?" And I go, "Well, till you buy it." He goes, "Well, what you want for it?" So I throw out a number to him. He goes, "Well, let me get in your QuickBooks and let me look at the data." Because I think he's got a degree in economics. And so he started looking at the numbers and came back with a little bit less than that. And number was acceptable. And, here we are. And, was it emotional? Not really. So he asked me, he said, "Well, let's have a celebration. Let's all go out to dinner." No, don't want to do that. I don't need anybody to pat me on the back. I said, I'm fine. I said, we had a part of our deal was, consulting. I said, I'm fine. I said, I'm going to hang around. I'm going to work out in the morning. I'm going to come to the shop, hang out for a few hours, and I'm going to go to the golf course, putt and chip a little bit, play a couple rounds of golf per week, and, come home and hang out with my wife and my puppy.
It seems like there was nothing emotionally kind of holding you, right, and keeping you, because you seem pretty relaxed and pretty at ease. Because I'm going to tell you, I recently had a job switch after 17 years of being at one school, and I think I was kind of like you, like everybody wanted to do this, and this, and I said no, I don't want to do it. Like I want to make it about what I've been making about these last 17 years. Was I've been making it about nothing but my kids and my student athletes. And I want to keep making it about that. And it seems like you have that same sentiment that you want to keep it like as business as usual, make it about the golf and the customer.
Right. Well, I'm very unemotionally stable. So, it really, honestly, it's not about me. It's about the customers and what we've done in the past. I mean, I really don't need any accolades. I'm not a rah-rah person. And again, I don't need to walk up and get somebody's autograph. There's no need for me to have Jordan Spieth's autograph or George Strait's autograph or whatever. I've never called George Strait on the cell phone. I mean, I'm just not that person. I don't need any of that. My wife and I just recently went to Montecito, which is next to Santa Barbara, California. Went on a little 5-day trip just to walk the beach and going to hang out. And, we had a few restaurants we wanted to go to. We walk in and we sit down at this table and she goes, "Oh, there's so-and-so. We're in California, like there's a movie star over there." I'm going, I couldn't have told you that was I don't know if you're supposed to call them movie stars or not, but I couldn't have told you who that person was to save my life. I don't care. I don't know. I mean, good for them, but I just I had a great meal, but, you know, I'm not that kind of person. I don't need somebody to pat me on the back, and I just want to help people get better at golf.
And I think those are the things that you've been doing. Those are the principles that you've built your company on, and I feel it through your students, and I feel it through your customers, because a lot of times names do come up, and you know what, MK Technologies is the first one to come up, and I'm sure that's something that you want to make sure that you do have to have some sense of pride. You have one of your former customers wanting to, you know, to take on the business and carry on the name, because after everything, I mean, your name is going to be still on the door. I don't know. I'm hoping you heard me.
Yeah, I lost you there, but you know, it's just like the guys in San Antonio that do what I do, like Gennaro and Ben. I mean, those two guys come in. I mean, they're all great people. I mean, I know Jarl's a great golfer. I mean, I don't know him personally, but um, they do what they do, and that's all fine. I mean, I do what I do, and you know, and good luck to all of them, and I hope they all. We're all here to just make a buck, you know.
And I think that's the thing, is like that there's everybody can occupy that same space, right?
Yeah.
We can can live in that same space, because a lot of times, Mark, I mean, you can tell me and be honest, the show's called Nothing is OB. Y'all are all fighting for the same customer. You are fighting for the same customer. And I think a lot of times in the golf industry, people in front, and you know what, people in front and on social media, everybody's friends and everybody likes to be lovey-dovey and we're all in this together. But on the other side of it, everywhere, it's a cutthroat business. You are fighting for that dollar. You are fighting for that customer's dollar. And I just think what separates a lot of people is how you do business.
Right. You know, and that's why, you know, I mean, it's kind of funny when as you look at Facebook, for example, and you look at the San Antonio Golfers page, I get such a kick out of somebody posting, how are the greens at La Cantera today? Or you know, somebody posts the condition of the greens at Riverside or whatever. But the ones that gets me the most of is, you know, like, how are the greens today at La Cantera, for example? I'm like, why don't you just go play and find out? I mean, how do you survive? How are you people surviving without have to ask somebody? You know, I mean, I don't ask
it's weird.
Anything.
It's weird. It's weird that we are in that space right now, right?
Yeah.
Now I can see if somebody maybe wants to share their experiences. Oh man, great, right? Go. Like you love the greens, awesome. You had a bad experience, okay, post it and share it, right? But let's be honest, right? Let's be honest, and I think that's one thing. In asking, you know what your thoughts are on the state of San Antonio golf. Like, where do you think we are right now as maybe in course wise? Do you think that I started the podcast to really kind of promote San Antonio golf, because I do think we are a destination place for golf?
Well, I will say this: we could be. I look at it that way. One of the things that hurts San Antonio is our weather. We don't have. We're in a pattern right now, and don't get me into climate change. I don't want to talk about that, but we just don't have enough rain in order to help the agronomists grow grass consistently.
It's been bad.
And then you have, I am a pseudo agronomist. I know all of the guys. I know a lot of those guys. And I know the guys that sell the products. I'm a yard guy. I have one of the best yards in my neighborhood by far. And these superintendents have such a hard time keeping up with the growth of their product. But it comes down to one simple fact, generally, and it's money. And the people that are running these golf courses generally are not putting enough money in the superintendent's hands to grow grass. Now, that being said, there are other problems. One of them is the gray water we use doesn't have the right chemistry in it, so they have to use more chemicals in order to grow the grass. And then the other factor is, that I don't think they're charging enough money generally for the tee times. And when I go play golf, I was just at Cedar Creek. One of my kids I work with, he's a pro. He was playing a qualifier out there. It was on a Monday at Cedar Creek. I saw no maintenance people, zero on a Monday.
Isn't that the day? Monday, it's Monday maintenance days.
Yeah,
right?
It was no maintenance people working on the golf course. And so, there's a labor issue, and I even hear that. I even hear that on the radio, on Andy Everett's show. So the mentality of how you run that product in this city is a problem, in my opinion. So you have to have the money. I think that's a problem. And until you satisfy that, and I don't think there's enough people working on the golf courses. And I mean, right now, if you haven't done this lately, you need to go play River Crossing, which I'm a member of as well.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Can I just invite myself to one of your rounds?
Let me tell you something. Whenever you have time to go, you let me know and I'll take you out there, because it may be the best condition that I've seen it in a long time.
Well, because FOREBROS Tour has had several events out there, and they're all during the week. I mean, we're trying to we have a group outing there, and we're thankful because there's some great leadership going on out there at River Crossing. Right, the owner is a real cool guy.
Yeah,
and you know what,
David Garcia is a great guy. But look, whenever you want to go, just let me know.
There you go. That's what I need to hear. I have it. It's on recorded. It's on recorded. I have it.
The community itself in golf is pretty solid as far as the numbers are concerned. It's just that the people that are running the programs in golf, they need to add more money to the labor. The superintendents need to have the money to do what they do to grow grass. And it's just, I think they need to make the tee times 10 minutes on all the golf courses, and just need to spend more time and money in agronomy.
And I think that's the thing, right? So I've had many superintendents and directors of agronomy on here, right? And I think you get there's two different types, right? You have superintendents, and then you have people who are like true, like you have Bruce Berger out there out there at Quarry, who's like a true, agronomist, right? Yeah, like who's one of the best and who just lives and loves this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's that secret society, that secret superintendent society, and it seems like they all want to see each other succeed, which is great for us. I think the thing is, I'm on point with you and agreeing that more money needs to be given to these guys so that they can do their job, because there has to be a good leadership, right? There has to be some good leadership. You got somebody, there's so many rumors out there in regards to what happened out at Riverside. And it's a damn shame, because that course, like I said, growing up, it was the first course that I would come into from Corpus. And you hear rumors of the previous super wanted to mess him up because he was mad. You hear things of just misappropriation. And it's just like, you don't care. You just want a great product as a golfer. We don't care about all that stuff. Like we just want there to be good greens, right? Good golf. That's great golf conditions.
And the greens don't have to be 13 or 14. This region is not going to allow you to have, 12 stem greens, but maybe during a few events during the year. I get that, but 7 or 8 is a little bit too slow. I think that's going to have to be, and a lot of these greens, like in fact, River Crossing greens are a little bit old. They probably need to be redone eventually, but I just think they need to spend more time on the financial side, and I think we could talk about a number of factors with regard to overseeding or not, or transitioning out overseeding or not, but it all comes down to money. That's what it comes down to.
So right here, all right. So let's get to some fun stuff. What's your favorite course here in town? Remember, this is on the internet, and it lasts forever.
My favorite course in San Antonio. I'm gonna have to say Briggs.
Oh, I mean, it's carpet. It's fake out there.
Yeah, it just fits my eye. I've had, that was my best round. I shot 67 out there with 7 birdies.
Damn.
And with a really couple of good players, and I just like the layout. I like how you can move the ball around. That's probably my favorite. My least favorite, honestly, I hate to say this, is Oak Hills. I used to be a right miss player, and you can't miss right there at all. So I like San Antonio Country Club a lot. It's a fun little course to play. I love La Cantera because it's in great shape. I like the staff there. Real good friends with Romero and Eric and all those guys. I'm a member there as well. And real good friends with Dave Garcia out at River Crossing. I've been a member out there for a long time. So like that place a lot. Pecan Valley is not there anymore, obviously. But played Riverside lots of times, but I'd say Briggs is number one. I love the Quarry. I did have a membership there, but I don't play there anymore. It's too hard to get on.
Very popular, very popular course.
I would slip my wrist if I ever shot over like 37 or 38 on the front because it's par 35. But then when you get to 16, that long par 3, and then carry the canyon on 17, and you try to hit the fairway on 18.
Oh man,
like a couple doubles coming in and ruin your score. But on when they have an event at the Quarry, a lot of the really good players would just hit the 15 on 18 and hit back to the fairway on their second shot. So
damn, that's a great idea.
Yeah, hit down the 15 fairway and then come back up to 18 on your second shot.
Dang. See, this is why I always take notes. I'm always taking notes right there.
Good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Favorite golf movie?
Oh, it's Bagger Vance is my favorite golf movie, and you didn't ask me, but my favorite book is The Match.
What is The Match?
The Match is a story about Ben Hogan and Sam Snead in a match between Harvey Ward and Kim Venturi. And if you don't have it, get it. You won't be able to put it down. It's back during an event where they had an event in Pebble Beach. It was called a Clam Bake with Bing Crosby. And during the and Kim Venturi were amateurs, and they were employed by very wealthy people. And Hogan and Snead were pros, and they were playing the event at Pebble Beach. And some of the wealthy car dealers that employed Harvey Ward and Kim Venturi talked Hogan and Snead to play a match at Cypress Point with Venturi and Harvey Ward for a lot of money. You won't be able to put that book down.
Well, the last 3 golf books I read were Live and Let Die with by Alan Shipnuck about the whole live thing.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson's autobiography, and also another Alan Shipnuck book. The Tiger one with Armin Kataam, that was a good one. Mm-hmm. And then The Long Game. Those are or Mustang Miracle. Those are the last ones that I've read.
I've got a couple books up there.
So like I'd love getting into golf books because it takes me to a certain place in a certain time period, right? And so I love it. All right, favorite golfer of all time.
It's gotta be Nicklaus. And I hold Nicklaus number one for one specific reason. If you look at his record at the majors, the number of times he finished second, top 5 and top 10s, that's why he's the GOAT. I mean, by far.
I was listening to a preview. I was listening to a U.S. Open preview, and they were talking about, excuse me, one of his last wins, and they were talking about him being a thick fellow. He was like over 200 pounds, like in the 60s.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. I said, yeah, some of those pictures, he was a pretty stocky guy, Ohio State stocky guy.
Have you watched the Netflix show called Stick?
I've only seen the first episode because the first episode's free. I just saw it last night.
The first episode is like, that's kind of what we do. Like, oh, here's this $1,200 driver, but we don't push that. But it's kind of funny because the guy's in there, he's a stocky guy, oh, that's power, whatever. You need to watch that.
It's good. It's good. I'm over here. Like one of my friends asked me and said, "Hey, can I give you my email address and my code so you could watch the rest of the videos?" And I said, I think my wife has an account. I was like, but she's out of town, so it looks good. It looks like a solid show.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
All right, Mark. My last question for you as we wrap up here: who are you playing your final round of golf with?
Who am I going to play my final round of golf with? My son. He beat me for the first time in Scotland on the last hole at Kingsbourne. That was back in 2012. I spent a lot of money getting him trained to be a good high school golfer. He was on the varsity all 4 years at Reagan, and we were in Kingsbourne. He was studying in Scotland. He went to A&M, and he was training to be an architect, and later changed his major, but that's another story. But there's a burn right in front of the 18th green at Kingsbourne, and I didn't think he could carry it. And I get over the burn, and I end up on the green in two, and he gets over the green too. He two putts, I three putt. He beats me by one. And
legendary course.
First time he ever beat me. So yeah. So yeah. In fact, I just texted him today. I said, where you want to go? I said, take you on any trip. I said, let's go. I said, you want to go to Alaska on a fishing trip, or you want to go to Africa? I said, we need to go on a guy trip. So he's working on a trip right now. So I'm gonna take him somewhere. No golf.
So maybe what's been as you and Kirk have sold the company, you sold it, you're leaving it in good hands. You've done your life's work. You're still a consultant. What has maybe been your lasting memory in this game?
Well, one thing I've never done, I've never had a hole in one, but I've had an albatross. Number 4 at the Creeks course at Comanche Trace, 3 hybrid from 220 yards in the hole on the second shot on that par 5. But last thing, I played a lot of really great golf courses. I played, like say, Pebble. I played Marion, and I played Medina. I played Sawgrass, par 17. Which was kind of
Island Green.
Yeah, I just had the opportunity to play a lot of really great places, and traveled a lot, and played the old course at St. Andrews, and just got to meet a lot of good players along the way, being at the PGA show and kind of rubbing elbows with people in the industry. Leaving a little bit of that, I guess, around, and I guess really one of the biggest things is just helping juniors, becoming better at golf, helping kids, I just like helping young people.
And I think it shows. We have a lot of people that I'm sure people who are your clients and students earlier are now bringing their kids in, right? And then their kids in. It's been a revolving door, and they only do that because of they felt like they were taken care of the first or the second time, right? And I love it. I love what you do. Everybody always says your name. My boy Robert Powell's been speaking your name for a long time. I got another one of my buddies, Mike Osman, that's got a fitting coming up next week, and so we really appreciate what you do for the golf industry right here. I got Robert Vasquez. Customer service. I fitted Andy Torres for Callaway Super Softballs and gave him a free dozen to get him started on the right path. Yeah, I think he did that as a slap in the face, and he gave him, they were orange matte golf balls. So I said, so I saw a bum on the side of the road. I gave him a polo and a golf and some golf balls to get him set up.
There you go.
Mark, do you got any questions for me, brother?
Well, not really any questions. I think I appreciate what you do too. I think as you grow older, I think your legacy is going to grow. And I think what you do is important. I'd like to see you go to the PGA show. And
I want to.
Yeah, you got to get involved in that, and just see what that looks like. And you could get a media pass. That might be important. Maybe you could do a show from the PGA show. And I won't be going this year for the first time in a long time, but Keith's going, and I think Jamie's going to go. But just keep it going. Keep it alive.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Right here, I got.
If you want to go to River Crossing, just let me know when. I'll take you out there anytime you want to go. The whole thing's on me. And I don't know if you drink anything like other than water, but we got brewskis out there.
Oh, you know what? I'd like to take everything in. Let's put it that way.
All right. And you got to bring a buddy.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, you say less. Say less right there. Hey guys, that's Mark Vallier of still consultant MK Technologies, one of the best people here in golf in San Antonio golf, guys. So make sure, guys, you go out there and see him, and I'll make sure to put the website as well. And hey guys, Mark, we thank you for your time, brother, and sharing your knowledge and your stories with us.
Glad to be here.
All
Thanks,
right.
Andy.
You have a good night, brother.
Take care.
Yes, sir. Right there. Man, dude, that dude's he's probably done more in the golf game than I will ever know. He's such a great guy, and we're so thankful. And we recorded that. We have it on film. We have it on camera. That bring me and a buddy, and hey, we'll get some brewskis, man. You say less. You don't invite me for free golf. Everybody knows that. Don't invite me for free golf, guys. We want to thank our presenting sponsor right here, guys. Let's see if we can bring them up right here. Thank our presenting sponsor, Maximum Demolition and Dismantling. Make sure you hit up our guy Lee Ramos, owner and operator at Maximum Demolition and Dismantling. Hit them up at 210-507-2227, MaximumDemo.com. This dude loves the dirty work. He's a hack golfer just like me. So, and we're appreciative for his sponsorship. No job too big, no job too small. Make sure you hit him up, guys, for any of your demo and dismantling needs. And don't forget, we want to thank our gimme sponsor, FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again, guys. We see it all the time on SA golfers. Everybody's looking for skins games. Everybody's looking for prime tee times. I think that's probably one of the worst things that you could see out there on SA golfers or on social media. Hey, does anybody need a fourth? Hey, does anybody need, I got an extra open tee time? I think that's probably one of the most annoying things I see in this industry. And I say annoying because there's places out there, guys. There's homes for you. Guys, we have a home for you. FOREBROS Tour, never golf alone again. Play the best tracks here in San Antonio. We played La Cantera this past week. We're at Buckhorn this Saturday. We're going to Tour 18 in Humble and out there outside of Houston on July 3rd. We're going to be out at June 19th or the Juneteenth tourney out at Silverhorn. We're going to be out at Golf Club of Texas for a FOREBROS open house. Happy Gilmore 2 screening, guys, on July 25th. The best courses we play. Our home course is out at Lackland Air Force Base, Gateway Hills. Guys, we play some of the best tracks. It's just our schedule is so diverse. We've been out at Riverside golf. I mean, we've been out at Riverside too. Hopefully we're looking to come back once those greens get healthier. We've been out at Cedar Creek, Comanche Trace. The race for Comanche Trace is already there. Man, we play so many top tracks. We want to say big ups to our RGV chapter, Rio Grande Valley chapter. We're thankful to our guy David out there for kind of taking the lead. We're spreading, all right? We're spreading like the bubonic plague. We're everywhere, baby. We really think that golf has a place for everyone. It saved our life. It's brought us close together. I can't compete on the basketball court, flag football, but I can still golf. We're thankful to have these guests on our shows. We don't pay for our guests and vice versa. They don't pay us to be on the show either. They're on it because they love the game, and we're so appreciative of. You heard about Mark. He sold this company that he built to one of his former students, one of his former clients. That's going to continue the legacy. They just posted up their new spot out at Horseshoe Bay out there in Marble Falls. And so they said they're going to put up another one. They're trying to spread that customer service to more and more golfers, more and more people right here. My brother. Thank you, John White. Great show tonight. Lots of sage wisdom. Thank you, John. We appreciate it, brother. I appreciate the support because right here, Mark is one of those guys in the games that you have a lot of people that like to cut down and like to go back and forth between who does it best. And he was pretty real. You know, they're all fighting for that same dollar and they're all fighting for that same client and the same people. And I just think it's what you do. I think Mark does it great. Ben Carricker does it. Ben and Alex, they do it great too. They make you feel like you've known him forever once you walk through those doors. Hernando, hey, he'll sit down, have a cup of coffee with you. Just a great guy. I think some of these people, they do it better than others. And they also have some of the capabilities right now. I listen to some of my guys on No Laying Up, the No Laying Up podcast. KVV just did a Muni special, and we talk about it. They were talking about, what is a Muni, and is it, Muni, I think, is a different term now because there's so many management groups that come in, and even they have in Los Angeles and New York, they have Golf NYC out there, and there's like a lot of different feelings, but what's a Muni and what is not a Muni. And I think a lot of times they made a good distinction in regards to a course that is kind of independently owned and maybe not a municipal course, but that they don't belong to like a bigger corporation or like a bigger, ownership group. And I know one guy does that. I know there's several guys that do that for sure. That's why FOREBROS Tour makes their home course out of Gateway, because Robert Vasquez is able to do so many great things. And I'm not going to say he doesn't answer to people, because he does, but he's able to give great deals, put out a great product, and provide that customer service. Another guy I know is Bo LeHue. He is the end-all be-all. I know he does have an owner, but I think and Bo makes himself present. He might not be a golfer per se, but man, the dude's always around his course. He's driving his course. He's checking things out. Him and his team have done some amazing improvements. I think they were talking about when you hear make San Antonio golf great again. I think they talk about Golf Club of Texas being great again, and it's awesome. That's where FOREBROS Tour started. That was where it was created in 2019, right around that COVID time, out at Golf Club of Texas. And it's always great to go back to our home out there at Golf Club of Texas, the vibe. And we're going to be out there for an open house July 25th, Happy Gilmore 2 screening, free cake beer for FOREBROS and their families and friends of FOREBROS and people that are interested in FOREBROS Tour. And I don't think there's a lot of courses that can make that happen, but I know Bo LeHue is one of the guys that he thinks outside the box, and he makes the unthinkable. He makes it happen. Right, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And also, don't forget, guys, we've been coming live from the Texas Chancla Studios. This dude, Jesse Hernandez, man, he's been playing. I think, like I said, he was on a 5-day, 5-round bender. I just saw he played 36 in one day, 36 the next day. Dude's a beast, man. He's out there playing the course, living his best golf life. Super thankful for his sponsorship of the Texas Chancla Studios. Guys, make sure, guys, you continue to support the podcast, guys. Make sure you hit us up at nothingisob.com. Remember, guys, in the game of life, nothing is OB.